Happy New Year. Delighted to see you all this morning. I didn't know who would show up. We do have some partiers in our community, you know. Barbara and I had a wonderful time at the beach. We had the experience of the weather forecast being not so great about midweek, and Barbara kept referring to what we would do with the bad weather, and I kept saying, no, let's see what happens. And sure enough, we had the best week of weather we've ever had. Oh, we're going to do the identity prayer thing? Okay, now that I've told you about the beach, we're going to let that go. Let's do our identity prayer. I know that within myself there is that life which is perfect, complete, divine. It was never born and cannot die, for it lives and is God. Within myself is the wholeness, peace, poise, and power of life. This life is health, it is abundance, it is love. There is one life, and it is the life of God, and this is my life now, and so it is. Yes, it is. That's the truth. Absolutely. One night while we were in Miami, we watched a movie on TV in the hotel, and it was called Company Men. And it had a lot of stars in it. It was one of those movies about the economic downturn and firm laying off people and all those kinds of things, and how three different characters dealt with that. And it was a very poignant story. And when it was over and I was thinking about it, I said to myself, that's not my experience. Not that thousands of people haven't lost their jobs. They have. Probably 1 million people have lost jobs. And so that's part of the reality of being in this country at this time. And there have been people in this community that have changed jobs. But we look at life in such a different way that I realized that the pressure that was on these people, the sense of failure, the trying and trying and trying, is not something that we're caught up in. We're not trying to make our lives work. We are claiming our lives into existence. We do things differently around here. It perplexes some people. And that's fine with me. But there's not much that we do in a regular status quo kind of way. For example, it's New Year's Day. And the tradition of our culture is that people make resolutions. And they resolve to either do something or not to do something in their lives. And then, by pure will, their intention is for that to manifest or not manifest, whichever way you want to go. Whether it's about losing weight or stopping smoking or getting healthy or getting something new in your life or whatever it is. All those things, they seem the only method that's kind of presented in the model is that by sheer will, I will remain the same, but I will change my life. And it just doesn't work much. It's kind of the joke. You know, when do you give up on your resolution? You know, during New Year's Day or New Year's week or New Year's month, or when is it that it finally shifts and you go back to the status quo? Because that's sort of how it works. Now, there's the occasional person that actually achieves a resolution and resolves it and actually accomplishes it. So I'm not putting anybody down that does that. But I believe there's another way to approach all this. There's another way to do that, and that really has to do with not so much changing as recognizing and being aware of who we are in the world. And what comes out of this is an interesting idea that perhaps there's an element of our being that we are not fully evolved into. I'm giving this to you very gently so that you don't reject it right out. Perhaps there's some part of us that we have not fully expressed yet, and that this is an opportunity to use the cultural norm of the new year, because as Barbara said, new begins at any moment. You can have a new beginning like that. But the whole culture is saying this is a new beginning, so let's use the energy of that to create for ourselves a new beginning, but not by that old way of doing it, by a new way. And to do that, I would like to take you through a ceremony today, a ritual process to which you can apply a new way of thinking in your life. Perhaps even take this title, your new name, and create something for yourself out of it. So what I want to begin with is to ask our prosperity acceptors to come forward. Don't take out your money yet. I have another task for them. And they are fully informed that they are going to pick up these baskets on the sides here and set the towels aside, I suppose, because you don't need the towels. Bring those up here just like you would normally, as you will here in a little while with empty baskets. And we're going to do a blessing. And I will explain the importance of these stones that are in these baskets to you in a moment. But to begin the process, we need to have you select your stones. So what I want to do here is simply place a blessing upon these baskets of stones and know that whatever is revealed through this good work this day, through these stones, changes lives, opens hearts, and allows a newness to shine forth upon those that accept and receive. For all of Spirit shines upon us this day in what we do. Yes. Go ahead and pass those out. So simply when the basket comes to you, select your stone. Make sure you don't take anyone else's. And while you're doing that, if you're not actually having the basket in your hand, what I would like you to do is pay attention to me, because I'm going to read you some scripture. It's really okay, all right? I'm going to read from a book in the Bible that I have never in this room read from. It's called Revelations. It's the Revelation of St. John the Divine. That feels nice. And I'm going to read from chapter 2, verse 17. This is what it says. He who has ears, let him hear what Spirit says. To him who overcomes, I will give to eat the hidden manna, and I will give him a white stone, and on the stone is a new name, which no one knows except the one who receives it. Ooh, and if you know anything about Revelation, it's sort of written in code. It's the revelations that came to this one through a series of dreams, and was presented to the 7 churches that existed in the Christian world at the time. So I want to kind of, as these stones continue around the room, Celeste, when you're complete, would you bring a basket back up so I can select the stone as well? I want to talk about this that I just shared with you, this reading, kind of dissect it so that we get a sense of it. Those who have ears, let them hear what Spirit says. Now, I'm not talking about these things. This is a figurative idea of being able to listen and hear not from without, but from within. Because, Jesus said that a number of times, let those who have ears to hear, I'll let them hear. He wasn't talking about physical ears. He was talking about those that can receive this information from within. And it's not that there are those that don't have the ability to receive information other than through their natural 5 senses. We all have that ability. Some of us have it developed a little more, though, and in this particular place, we have it well developed. It's called intuition. It's called being able to receive information without a source, a known source. And we all have the ability to do that. So I believe that the author of the Revelations was speaking to us. The next line is, to those who overcome, I will give to eat the hidden manna. Manna. I'm sure you've heard that. That was as part of the Old Testament, that food showed up for the Israelites as they were wandering in the desert. It would simply show up. But I give you a definition of manna that says any sudden or unexpected assistance or spiritual nourishment. So what does he mean, the writer mean about overcoming? Overcoming what? I believe that the idea of overcoming comes out of our ability to overcome the limitations that life seems to present to us. If we have the ability to see beyond the problems that have presented themselves in our lives and see that our lives are simply filled with opportunities to expand our awareness, to resolve anything that is before us, to recognize that we are actually more powerful than any condition in our lives. If we can do that, then we receive that spiritual nurture, that spiritual nourishment. And that's what's being spoken of there. That if we can simply know that there's something greater going on, that we can have the answer to anything, to everything, without exception. And that's all good stuff. But then we get into this stone business. And I will give him a white stone, and on the stone is a new name, which no one knows except the one who receives it. Thank you very much. Everybody have a stone? Good, okay. All right, we're going to get there in a minute. The idea of name. In Aramaic, the word name actually means nature. Am I close with that? It means one's nature. When Jesus said, pray in my name, what he was saying is, pray like I do. Pray in my nature. Do it this way. He was saying that this is the methodology to follow, not to do it in the name that I use. That's what he was pointing out. And so this idea of name means your nature, who you are, the essence of your being. That's what a name is about in the essence of this that we're talking about here today, this passage in Revelations, is the idea of a new nature. Now, we're not traveling down the path of life and all of a sudden, boom, we're different. I mean, there is that talk about walk-ins, but I have no idea if there's any relevancy to that. But for most of us, the idea is that which we want to develop is already within us. It's just not fully developed, or we're aware of it and we're acting on it. So the idea of shifting our nature isn't to suddenly be something we weren't. It's simply to be aware of who we are at a deeper, more abiding level, and to act on that, and to be fully present with that. So the idea of a new name is the idea that there is something within you that seeks to be revealed. And that by revealing that, by moving into that knowingness of yourself, that what happens is, now you have a different outcome. Because you're presenting yourself in life, you're expressing into life from a different sense of who you are, a greater sense of who you are. So everybody's got a stone, right? Everybody got a stone? One in the back. Thank you. All right, good. So while we're doing that, I want to invite all of you to take a little peek at your stone. And look on it and see if you see any cracks, any divots or dents or bumps or anything at all that you want to make note of here. Also, take a moment to see if there's any coloration variation, any differences of color. Is it speckled? Are there dark spots? Are there lines? Okay, what we're doing right now is what people do in their lives. They try to find the problem. They try to see what's not quite perfect, what's not quite right. If it wasn't there, it wasn't that way, wouldn't things be better? It's called judgment. And I admit, I led you right into it. I had to do it. So whatever came up as I was asking you to do that, I want you to just let that go. And I want you to approach this stone in a very different way. Look at it again. This stone that you hold in your hand has been preparing itself for you for millions of years. This stone that you hold is an ancient being that has tumbled and tossed to smooth all its edges into something beautiful. This one presents itself to you lovingly, joyously, richly. This stone is who you are. You chose it. Of all the stones that were just before you, that you chose the one that is in your hand right now. You have this direct connection to this one. The native people are so into stones. They put them in fires and cover them with water and breathe the vapors and do these amazing things. And they call them the stone people. And they believe that there's a consciousness here. Why not? Something holds it together as a stone. And somehow this one chose to be in a place where all of the rough edges were taken off. It's ready. It's ready to reveal to you exactly your nature, a newness to your nature. And it's been preparing for this moment for millions of years. That's a very different way to look at stone, isn't it? Yes. So I want to invite you, put the stone in your left hand. In many cultures, the left hand is the receiving hand. So hold it in your left hand. And I want to invite you to close your eyes for a moment. And the scripture says that the stone that is given has a new name on it. It has a new name for us on it. But none of us saw anything written on it, so it's not about writing. It's about knowing. It's about accepting. And I invite you to empty your mind of whatever else may be going on and to be fully present with this one that has been on this long journey from a faraway place to be in your hand right at this moment. To be absolutely present with you right now to help you reveal this new name within you. So envision the stone in your mind with your eyes closed. Recognize that it has come with important information for you to reflect to you who you are and to reflect to you this new name. So as you hold it, I want to share with you the 7 attributes of God. And I want you to allow that to flow over you as though you are the stone in the rushing water. And if it tumbles you a bit, let it tumble you. But sit with each of these thoughts and see what emerges from within you. Peace. Power. Beauty. Joy. Love. Light. Wisdom. These, the attributes of the divine that dwell in you. I'm going to give them to you again. Peace. The knowing that no matter what, God is all there is and all is well. Power. Divine inner strength through which all things are possible. Beauty. The appreciation of divine presence dwelling in, through, and as all life. Joy. The expression of fullness and wholeness that bubbles up for all to see. Love. The presence of God revealed. Light. Divine presence expressing through every word and every action. Wisdom. The application of divine understanding. Perhaps one of these is your new name. Perhaps it's something else. Perhaps there is another idea that has come forth without a clear source, without a clear idea, not grappled over, simply known clearly, known fully, known completely. Perhaps this is your name. Perhaps this, whatever this name is, can express only through you in the way it seeks to express right now. And though the name may sound the same as many others, it can only be what it is through you, the way you are meant to deliver it to all of life. Can you accept this name? Can you embrace it? Can you embody it? Can you live by it in this year 2012? Can you allow it to express through you to its fullest, most wonderful, most noble expression? Know it in your heart. Know it in the stone. And allow it to do its good work, for it is the presence of the divine in a way that it can only be revealed through you. When you have your name, open your eyes. Well done. So you have a new name. You have a new sense of who you are. Your nature is suddenly revealed to you. From that place, create your path, create your outcomes, create your relationships, create your expressions, create everything that you choose to create. And find how well it works in your life. And put this one somewhere so that you'll remember. If it's small enough, maybe you'll carry it in your pocket. If not, perhaps it goes on an altar or on a dresser or somewhere where you're going to see it all the time so that it can remind you of who you are and why you are here and the good work that you've come to do. A simple process like this can create such a sense of self-awareness, such a sense of fullness and richness. So I invite you to receive this gift fully and live by it. And in so doing, have 2012 be the absolute best year of your life.